Hey guys, it's Dan, welcome back. This is going to be a video similar to the one I did on comparing pikemen between the Perry and Warlord Games boxes, but instead this is going to be Dark Age focused. This is going to be a comparison between the Viking kits from Victrix, which is on the left hand side, and from Gripping Beast, which is on the right hand side. Full disclosure, just out of the gates here, that I have done a lot of kit bashing with both units that you see in front of you here. The bodies of the ones on the left are almost entirely Victrix from a couple of different kits, from the Vikings, from the Saxons. There's actually some Normans in here too. However, there are also Fireforge bits mixed in on the left-hand side here. Likewise, on the right, the bodies are almost entirely Gripping Beast, with a couple of exceptions, like this guy up in the front there is a Victrix Norman, and there's a couple other oddities. And this one has, in a lot of cases, Victrix shields and heads. However, I think I can isolate, just like I did in the last video, 5 miniatures that are purely Victrix and 5 that are mostly purely Gripping Beast, so that we can have a proper comparison between the two. So as with the last video, let me cut here and I'll isolate some models so that we can have a more close-up discussion. Okay, and here we go. So it turns out I kit bash even more than I realized, because these models are as close as I could get to out of the box Victrix Vikings on the left-hand side and Gripping Beast Vikings on the right-hand side. Now, the only caveats to that, there's conversion work in terms of like cutting arms and stuff like that, but these are all from the Victrix Vikings box. On the right-hand side, this is actually the only model I have that is purely out of the box a Gripping Beast Viking. But the other two are very close. It's just the heads that are from Victrix. So if you could, for the sake of this comparison, disregard the heads on these two guys, and then again, this one is truly a Gripping Beast Viking. So let's talk a little bit about stats for a second. Gripping Beast, I mentioned in a prior video, it plays, I think, a very important role in our very niche wargaming community, in that, to my knowledge, and maybe Warlord Games started producing plastic kits right around the same time, but I think Gripping Beast was pretty much one of the first non-Games Workshop manufacturers to produce a multi-part plastic kit. And I don't think the importance of that can be understated, because that really laid the groundwork for all of the companies that were to come to produce kits of their own. So with that out of the way, again, I think that Gripping Beast plays an important role for us as a community in that respect. With that out of the way, the Gripping Beast kit, I think, was released sometime around 2009. I scoured the internet trying to find an exact release date, but that date stands out in my mind. I remember getting the kit when it was new, and I think it was right around that period of time that I got it. The Victrix kit, by contrast, came out in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, so about a 10-year gap between the production of these kits. And in terms of like price point, the Victrix kit on the left, again, is 46 USD, taking the MSRP off their website for 60 models, so a huge kit. And on the right, Gripping Beast is like $32 US for 44 models. So about 76 cents a model on the left and about 72 cents a model on the right. So almost identical, right? So what do you get in the kits? Let's talk about Gripping Beast specifically for just a second here. Again, 44 models. From what I remember, there's one main sprue, there's one smaller command sprue that has things like this horn guy over here, and then there's like a fur cloak. The sculpting is a little bit shallow, as you can see, especially on the bodies. Again, they're fully painted, so it's a little bit difficult to see, but especially compared to like the chainmail here on the left. Here, let me just do this. I'm all over the place with how I want to do this comparison. But so again, you've got a Victrix Viking on the left, you've got a Gripping Beast Viking on the right. And you can see already, like, in terms of like the way that the arms fit, they're a little bit clunkier on the Gripping Beast side, because of the way that Victrix has produced this kit. The arms actually attach at this point on the chainmail, so you don't have like a weird seam as you do on a lot of the Gripping Beast sides. In terms of like face detail, Yeah, the beards are a lot more imposing on the Victrix set by and large. There's not a whole lot of head variety on the Gripping Beast set either. Certainly not compared to the Victrix side. The one advantage that I think the Gripping Beast set has actually is the spears are a little bit chunkier, which is good for like actual wargaming purposes. So you don't have to run into the risk of things like snapping. Like for example, if I take a model out of the sides here, like this spear is out of the Victrix Viking kit, and you can see the comparison there. I actually think the Victrix one is more correct in terms of scale. The Gripping Beast one is much chunkier, as you can see, but it also means that it's a lot sturdier in terms of getting banged around on the table. And if this spear like snaps right here, you pretty much got to get a replacement. So that's one thing to be aware of. I also think that in terms of poses, you're more limited with the Gripping Beast set, and that a lot of them are kind of in that sort of spears arced forward kind of position. Even the ones for like that are ostensibly for back ranks, you can see they're kind of angled that way. So everything is sort of trying to angle forward, which is really cool for like making a shield wall, for example, that these all rank up really nicely. Same thing here, like if I pull in a couple more models. Again, these are more Victrix heads and shields, but you can see in terms of the kit, the Gripping Beast kit, the spears in it in particular, I think if you're careful with positioning, they can rank up in a way that makes for a really neat shield wall. Beyond that, in terms of like shields that they come with, they all come with these shields, regular old Dark Age shields. Some of them have lips on them, like this is a Victrix shield, but like on the outer rim of it. They also come with axes and some swords. Like they're some like left-handed swords, like this thing here, which is like a very large sax, I guess. And they also come with, again, left-handed axe arms, like this one. But there's enough sword or axe arms to equip everybody with right-handed axes or swords as well, if that's something you choose. There's also a couple of Dane axe bits in the kit itself. I don't think they look very good, unfortunately. The axes are loose from the hands, so you've got like Lego hand syndrome to start, and the kind of the posing of the left and the right arms. I'm using my arms right now to try to show you, but of course you can't see me. But the left and the right arms kind of come across the body in a very tight way that makes for a not super imposing pose, as it were. So again, most of the value that I see in the Gripping Beast kit comes from if you're trying to rank up a lot of models in a way that is similar. And again, I put a lot of nostalgic value in the role that kit played in sort of laying groundwork for other kits that were to come. So let's talk about Victrix by comparison. I've mentioned several times, I think, that Victrix, their Viking kit, in terms of quality of sets, really marked a turning point for the company, I think, because the kits that came out before that were predominantly Napoleonics, and I think they used traditional sculpting methods for those, which the kits look fine. I've put together a couple of them, like they're old hoplites, and they're all fine. I have no problem with them. But when these Vikings came out as like CADs, the renders for them, I know from seeing like chatter on forums and stuff, we're just totally blown away, not only by the detail of the sculpts, as you can see, but some of like the really crazy poses that you can achieve out of this box. And yeah, I was just totally gobsmacked. And that's something that they've carried on to do with subsequent kits that they've put out. For example, I've got a couple in the wings here. Like Victrix, their stuff blends together so well that like at glancing at this, you might think these are all from their Viking sets, but they're not. Like these two on the left-hand side are Normans. They're from their semi-recently released Norman infantry set, like the armored bodies from the Norman infantry set. So all of the bits from this, except for the shields. I can't remember if those were from the Vikings or if the Normans come with some round shields too. But otherwise, like the bodies and the weapons, these are all from their Norman kit, but they blend in really well, I think, as like armored Vikings. And the same thing here, you've got, this is a Norman body on the left with a Viking head, and I guess then a Viking shield. And then vice versa, this is on the right, this is a Viking body with a Norman head. So again, lots of interchangeability of kits, and that's notwithstanding the fact that they are putting out, I think I saw there's a Rus kit that they're putting out soon, which is funny because like I originally kit bashed this unit with, by the way, some Fireforge models because I was trying to make a multi-part plastic like Rus kit. So I'm of course gonna have to pick up the actual Rus kit when that comes out. And they just put out like their early Saxon, like armored Saxons that I think would blend together with their Vikings really well. So Victrix does just a really good job of putting out kits that offer a lot of kit bashing potential. Victrix again, or excuse me, Victrix Gripping Beast, again, they've got their Viking Herdman set, they have their Saxon Thanes, they're like Dark Age warriors. Again, I don't have any models from that kit, right? I might have like one or two kicking around, but it's the kit bash potential for those exists too. They mostly suffer from, again, like shallow sculpting because the kits are older. I don't want to like, you know, dig on the kit too much, but those kits are older. Like the bigger concern I had with some of the other Gripping Beast boxes that I've dealt with was like weapon variety, like the Dark Age warrior kit, which are unarmored bodies, didn't have a lot to offer in terms of like weapon and head variety to mix in with the Viking set. And that's again where one of Victrix's real strengths lie, is with just the crazy amount of bits that come in any of the sets that you can pick up. So unlike the other video that I did where I really didn't make a recommendation, I think both are fine. If you're just starting out, I think that it's a no-brainer for the price to go with Victrix, unless again you're really looking for a hardier unit that you're going to bang around on the table and you're looking for like a shield wall that you can create with the kit, everybody kind of in the same sort of pose. However, the other thing I wanted to mention is kind of all of that aside. Actually, while I've got them over here, you can see too in terms of scale, there's one thing I really didn't talk about. But again, if I like blend these together a little bit, you can see the scale is all super similar, even with the Gripping Beast stuff, which is why I do a lot of kit bashing between sets. But these are all pretty much the exact same size, which is cool. Again, from a modeling standpoint, we've got a ton of variety and options to choose between. But again, one other thing that I've done, again, if you've got a bunch of old Gripping Beast models lying around that you don't really know what to do with, as you might have seen in my prior video that I did, they kit bash just really well with Victrix bits. So what I did for almost every model in this unit, if I kind of take some more out, isolate them for you, is I took shields from their Huscarl set. So like these kite shields came from the Huscarls, because the Huscarl box from Victrix, for those not aware, comes with Dane axe arms and it comes with spear arms. So I took the spear arms from the Huscarl set, built the Huscarls with Dane axes. It had a ton of extra head left over, so I used those heads, which I think are more detailed than the Gripping Beast equivalent. And you can see they blended together, I think, very nicely. So if you've got a lot of Gripping Beast models and you prefer the Victrix models, I think that this is a good solution to use them, get them on the table, is to mix in some Victrix bits with the Gripping Beast models in order to, I think, elevate them slightly. And in fact, this one over here, this is fun for those wondering. This is, I think, from the Dark Age Warrior set that I had mentioned. So again, you can see this is, well, again, I should be very clear that this is from the Dark Age Warrior set, with the exception of the spear, which is from the Victrix Viking set, and the head, which is from the Victrix Huscarl set. So lots of kit bashing, lots of potential. Again, I'll echo what I said in my prior video about this being a real golden age of wargaming, especially for multi-part plastic sets, that we just have so many options to choose from. And even the like lowest tier, if you have to rank manufacturers and kits, is I think really incredible. We're still in a position where we've got really beautiful models to choose between. So anyway, I've got a Victrix unboxing on the way, and probably a couple other Victrix unboxings on the way after that, just because there's some stuff in their range that I wanted to pick up for a couple of my armies. And I've got another painting video coming up, another sprue review coming up, and some other stuff. So as ever, thanks for dropping by, guys. I appreciate you. And in the meantime, happy gaming.